you ready?
Yeah. That over.
Oh, I forgot my notebook. I was going to have that beside me. You know how I like to
me
sketch
too.
things.
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
It is the time for our regular LangTime Studio stream, which we were off last week. Apologies for that. So a number of exciting things to note. One is I have forgotten to put up the chat.
Oh, on our actual YouTube video.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that little blank box up there. Do you need to blank things out while you do this? Or is it
I
okay?
don't think so. You know why I forgot about this? Because this is one of the things. We had our Conlang Conflict Championship.
Yay!
While we were gone. And for that, I don't pop out the chat. It was Team LangTime Studio with Jesse, Bibluridian, and Artifexian facing off against Team Let's Have a Booba with Jake, Miles, and Jonathan. And the edge, in a squeaker, it went to Team LangTime Studio.
Yay!
Well done.
Really fantastic work from my teammates, who are, of course, the CEOs in charge of LangTime. Anyway, Bibluridian and Artifexian / Edgar, who I kept just calling Artifexian, even though Edgar was up on the name.
It's really awkward.
But I just wanted to make sure everyone knew who I was talking with. I feel like people know who Artifexian is.
He could do something really bold, change his channel to the real Edgar, Probably have to be like the real Edgar 457 or something like that, moving away from Artifexian.
The real Edgar.
Oh, the real Edgar,
yeah.
Yeah. Artifedgarin. I like that. Anyway, so there we go. We should be all set. Sorry, we were a little late today. I think we're both a little out of it because we stayed up extra late at a time where we need to be going to sleep early.
Yeah.
In preparation for things. Because we were up recording the LangTime chat episode last night, which patrons were quite excited about because it was quite a thing. Do you want to describe now that we've, released the results, I guess, do you want to describe what
and I also want to
was?
say why we had to wait till the last minute to record it. A big part of that was that it was a challenge that we extended to patrons, and 6 people participated, and so they sent their results. And I had tried to make it in my head. I was like, okay, July 27th is the cutoff for sending me work, and I'll have 3 days to put stuff together. I was not anticipating the depth to which people would go on the challenge. And so 3 days to analyze and try to pull together information. It ended up being pretty intense. So I didn't actually finish the presentation slides until evening last night. And so it took me 4 days to pull all that together. It was a lot. Okay, so the challenge itself, let's back up a little bit to episode 53 of LangTime Chat. Mm-hmm. And so if you're a patron, you have access to our podcast now. If you're not a patron, at the end of season 6, these will be released in video form and podcast form. In episode 53, I set out a challenge that I called a frame lang challenge. I created a new term to go in the conlang world. So we've got oxlangs, we've got artlangs, we've got ingelangs, loglangs, etc. I decided to create my own word for the thing you need to do, or the thing that David and I have done, and I know other conlangers have done, where you are tasked with effectively turning what was originally gibberish into the sort of foundation of a full language. And so, for instance, it's what Mark Okrant did with Klingon, because there had been Klingon spoken prior to his work, and so he needed to take what was there, try to analyze it, and try to make it fit, what they had said it meant. And so that was effectively, he had to take existing pieces and then flesh everything else out around it. It's what David and I have done for like Shadow and Bone, all of those languages. And so it's, just taking what was never really intended to be a full language in the first place and then turning it into a full language. So that in and of itself is a challenge, but to take that challenge like 10 notches up based on, it was actually in London, the BlackRock presentation that we
Which
did.
Jason set up for us.
Ben set up for us.
Sorry.
Jason, we did get to hang out with in London,
Yes.
but Ben set it up for us.
Very, very sorry. That was a mistake.
And it was a lot of fun. But one of the people asked a question that was like a really standout question, because it's one we'd never gotten, where they had said, well, have you ever tried to take, like English words and do that same thing, like treat it as if they're gibberish and then like build a new language based on these written English words? And so I was like, challenge accepted. And so I used the book Sushi for Beginners by Marian Keyes just to pull out character names, some place names, some random 2-word phrases, and 2 sentences and again, all written in English, all fully intended to just be English. And anyone who did the challenge had to take that data, treat it as if it was not English, but was some unknown language, and then build a system from it. And so it was intense. It was a lot of work. It was hard. You have to force your brain to not see what you know very well as English. By the end of it, David and I both had the same problem where we stopped seeing words as English. And so like when I tried to read the sentences in English, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't remember how to pronounce these words. But anyway, yeah, so that was it. And so episode 54, which we recorded actually this morning at 1:00 in the morning.
That's true.
So we ended up not doing the recording until today. It was the results. And so you get to see what David did, what I did, and then we highlighted work from the 6 patrons who submitted their results. And there was just some brilliant analyses. There were really clever and thoughtful treatments of what was there. People went in very different directions, which was a lot of fun. And so, anywho, that was this episode, and this was actually the first 2 episodes of a 5-part series, which I still don't remember the full overview. I gave it in episode 53. I gave the full 5-part overview.
Did you write it down?
Well, yeah, because it's in episode 53.
All right.
So, like, I can... But now I'm, like, actually super curious, because I forget. I know what the last 2 episodes are.
So
I'm just trying to remember what the middle one was supposed to be.
Dance break?
Yeah, it is 5 parts, but we're like moving. So this is my mini series. Okay, so we did 53 and 54. Oh, episode 55, we're going to talk about a posteriori conlings that we have created or created individually, because that's conlinging from existing material. So the whole mini series is based on like, how do you conling when you have something to start with? And then episode 56 is going to be material for another challenge. And this one's going to be an a posteriori challenge. And then episode 57 will be the results.
Yeah. By the way.
So that's where we're headed in the mini series. So we've got 3 more coming.
By the way, I had a recommendation that I thought of. I didn't make it because it just so happened that the first was a Thursday. But if it weren't, I was thinking, well, we're this late anyway. You want to just do it live and invite patrons to watch? It might have been fun.
That could have been fun,
But
yeah.
the thing is, it wouldn't. And we could have done it because I still have the Zoom.
Yeah, we could have done it that way, but we also could have done it because so many of our patrons are in Europe or Australia, where they would have been like, finally, a good time.
Yeah, but since it was the first, it was I'm sorry, since it was a Thursday, I was like, we can't do that to ourselves. So sorry, maybe for a future thing. And I also would like to mention, firstly, this is Thursday, which means that it is now time to set the date on your time machine back 24 and a half hours to catch the beginning of Let's Have a Booba, which streams every Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific.
Yay!
And Let's Have a Booba right now is having a challenge of their own, a tone challenge. And in fact, if you want, where does it live? Like, is it, because like I can...
It's on Patreon, isn't it?
Yeah, here, if we don't mind taking a moment.
Because if I recall, you can join Let's Have a Booba at the free level.
Yeah.
And I think you get... I could be wrong, but I think you get access to the posts at that level. So
I thought...
Jake or Miles can.
Oh.
And Miles did verify it lives on Patreon.
Wait a minute. That's not how I voted. The thing I voted for didn't win.
Magpie. Oh my God. Yes. Good old Beachichle Bile.
Obviously, I'm going to do that. Oh, goodness gracious. Anyway, so... let's see. Hold on a second.
It's just our
Yeah,
shower.
right.
It just spits out water during the day sometimes.
So no, not that. Yeah, see, look at this.
July 20th.
I voted for non-gendered numbers, and I lost.
You sure did.
And now
But
we're voting on what?
July 20th, roughly, is what you're looking for.
Here we go. Prototonal language, which obviously is going to be shortened to protonal language. Challenge. All right. It looks like it's explained here. Wait. Yeah, I think we should actually jump here. Wait, no, is there an explanation for this challenge anywhere?
Isn't that the video that you hit play on right there? But like we probably...
Hold on.
Oh, David's going to do it. I'm going to go get my notebook.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Hello!
Oh, wait, no, this is 58 minutes long. So this is just the Let's Have a Booba episode.
But they lay out the challenge.
Well, but that's 58 minutes long. I don't think that we can justify playing that.
I don't know. Then we're an hour into our live stream. We're good to go.
Yeah.
We'll finally be able to do some beaver laying.
I guess it'll be like usual where allegedly we waste that much time. Oh yeah, it's probably right. Probably is copyright infringement.
But this is us saying, hey,
Yeah.
everyone, go join Let's Have a Booba
Yeah, and
get more conlang goodness.
Check out the protonal language challenge.
That's a really good
Isn't it?
still shot of Jake.
Isn't it? This is great.
Jake, this is like a professional, like right here, the lighting is amazing. Like this looks like it's like a photo from a professional website where it's like, Jake, creator of, say the names for me because you're much better at it.
I think it's Pankashki.
Oh, well, that's how I say it, which is why I said you need to say it.
Yeah. No, actually, this is where like right here would be like a huge big splash, and it would say something like, "All languages are canceled?" ? Exclamation point, and like then you'd click on it, and it'd be like, "Hi, I'm Jake. Be sure to check out my store right here, and we're sponsored by blah, 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 blah." And then it goes on for 58 minutes. And then at the end, and he says, like, some people are saying all languages should be canceled. I don't think so. End. And that's it. Anyway.
That is it.
Sorry, like, gosh, Natalie just showed me, and it's so ridiculous. Showed me this Instagram of this guy, and he's just got literally thousands of videos. And all of them are about like 15 seconds long, and they all say the same thing. He's really obsessed with high quality LED lighting or air filters. And it's just like, which do you think is better for a gym? High quality LED lighting that ensures, lighting for all areas, or cost effective lighting that blah, blah, blah. And that's it. And so it's like, it's such an anti-joke I think it really encapsulates the humor of young people these days. It's truly it's a masterstroke. Anyway. Anyway.
I don't want to give it any more press, but did you see the more recent gaffe about the pronouns? A certain person was in an interview and said, "What do you think that Kamala Harris has pronouns listed?" And their response was, "I don't use pronouns." and so the interviewer was like, "Does that mean you're fluid?" But anyway, I don't want to give extra press to any person, so I won't say who it was, but it ended up being a kind of funny misstep on both the journalist and the interviewee's part. Anyway.
Jake, is that true?
Kamala, I knew I said it wrong. Thank you, Jake. As soon as it came out of my
Whoa.
mouth, I was like, I said it wrong. But then I momentarily was questioning every way I ever said it.
Well, how about that?
Because I remember it's supposed to be comma and then the law. And so in my head, when I remember to do it, I picture a comma followed by a law.
Well, I would remember it because it's my favorite. It's my favorite word that I used in every example when I was working on the Moro language that we were working on at UCSD. That the specific dialect is called Teto-Gavela, but the word that I kept using was damala, which is the word for camel. Obviously borrowed from Egypt. The plural is yamala. But I will remember that. Damala, gamala. All good.
Yes.
I'll remember that forever now.
Goodness.
All right. So, shoot, I went to the wrong thing. I was spoiling the poll. I was supposed to.
I know, you scrolled all down the results and
It's
then
just
left the screen on it.
absolute disaster.
It's, David,
Absolute
we
disaster.
are in fine
All right. Listen.
form.
Beaverly. Check out Tongues and Runes tomorrow. It's also at 1:30 Pacific.
1:30, yeah.
Yeah, they're really judging us for our 2 p.m. start time. I think they're both telling us to switch it a half hour earlier, which just would not work for us. We'd
Listen,
die.
I could go 2:30 if we want to push it later.
Yeah.
Especially now that we don't have to worry about after school stuff as much anymore. I could really push it. Anywho. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the poll then was about derivation. We had this old, not old, but there was a derivational suffix that at the time we were okay with. It was this suffix that meant, that referred to places of things, and it was E. And we decided it's just going to be added no matter what. And so thaki is tooth, and a place of teeth, a dentist's office, let's say, would be thaki. And, Bali is swarm, Bali, right? And if there was another vowel there, it would just get thrown right on the end. And I was 75% okay with that. Jesse was really on board, and so I was like, let's let it be. But then we had another problem, and it had to do with verbal derivation. Here you can see the place once again. They were working the same way, so it was sasai. But then we had this prefix that is the in its proto-form. So it's just CV in its proto-form. All right? And so the sasa, no problem. The kin, no problem. But then we have this word, this verb. Obviously, it's not a real, it's a verbal augment, right? It probably wouldn't be used, but is the base form for to get. And so when you add the to the front, that's the, which seems a little iffy. And so we decided, rather than just deciding this by fiat, we would decide to put this forth as a poll. And the poll was very confusing. I'm really grateful for all of you who read it and figured it out and voted for it. And so this is how the poll worked. We came up with a bunch of strategies for how to. Are we talking about? Oh, they're not talking about heavy metal. They're talking about the social media platform, Mastodon.
Mastodon.
Right.
Yeah, this chat has gone in so many directions that I swear I'm super trying to listen and pay attention to what you're saying, but I was also trying to piece together the 8 different conversations being had, some of which are very deep, some of which are, just little nuggets here and there. And let me tell you, that has taken all my brain energy, but I'm back to listening to
all
you.
right.
I'm good.
So the way we worked with basically long vowels and short vowels, and we were like, what's going to happen when long vowels are added to a root that ends in a vowel? And then what happens when short vowels are added to a root that ends in a vowel? And there had to be 2 different types of vowels, right? Short vowels and long vowels. And then for each of those possibilities, we came up with combinations because there needs to be a long vowel and short vowel strategy. And we had you vote on the combinations. And as everyone will note, not all combinations were available because we looked at some combinations and decided we would never want that to win. And I think I'm grateful that we did that because immediately in Discord, somebody was like, oh, the combination I wanted isn't there. That's right, it wasn't. It sure wasn't. Anyway, but let's...
By design, yes.
Yeah, let's go over what the combinations were. So one option, this is again, we're going to start with the long vowels being added to both short and long vowel stems. Then we'll move on to short. So for long vowels, we had 5 possible strategies. One is what we already had, no changes. So this is, looking at the E suffix, sasai, kiki, tatai, 2 long vowels in a row. So nothing. That was an option. I wanted to be sure that was still allowed. Another one was that long vowels will delete a short vowel, but when added to a long vowel, there will be an epenthetic L. And so sasai would become sasi, all right? Kiki E would become kiki, but tatai would become tatali, all right? C was the same, but instead of an L, it's an N. So for tatai, it would be tatani. Basically, it was like we came up with 2 possible epenthetic consonants. One was L, one was N. And then for D and E, it was just that epenthesis is always required. So when a long vowel is added. So sasali, kikili, tatali, or sasani, kikini, and tatani. All right? Those were the 5 options for if a long vowel was added. And I used the example of a suffix, but it could be the same thing with a prefix. All right. So those were those. That was A through E. Now for the short vowels, there weren't as many. It was just F through I. So 4 possibilities. First example, no change, but there was an epenthetic L when the result would be long. So dasa, and daiki, no change, but dalata. All right. Next, same thing, but epenthetic N. So danata. H was the short vowels were deleted. So the plus asa becomes dasa. The plus iki becomes diki. And the plus ata becomes data. I think that was my favorite for those. I like that.
Yeah, it was nice.
And then I is that the short vowels coalesce where possible. And what's left implicit here is otherwise they delete. So the plus asa, that combination is licit. So we get dasa. The plus iki, that combination is licit. And so we get veki. The plus ata, though, that's impossible. And so what happens is, I don't think it happens like a deletion. I think it's our 3 vowel thingy. Remember?
Yeah. Where it's already follows what we already do in the language.
Yeah, so data. All right, so those were the options. And then I have to actually go to the results to show you which ones were allowable. And
There were a lot of combinations.
yeah, and I made a mistake. There were two of them that shouldn't have been included because they were logically impossible.
And yet.
And so I asked people not to vote for them, and they listened. That was really nice. That was really nice.
I totally expected there to be.
Yeah, I know. But I want to show you why they were logically impossible. So give me a second. I'm going to pull it up. It's totally going to show up here. It's probably from a while ago because this is... yeah, here we go. The options were E plus F and D plus G. So let me see those. E, long vowels require epenthetic N. But in this one, they require epenthetic L. That's why. So basically, the epenthetic consonant was changing depending on whether a short or a long vowel was added. And that would just be a disaster. Anyway, so yeah, so those two options were not included. So let's see the ones that got votes, because really it was just 5 of them, and I don't want to go through all the combinations. So A and F got votes, did not win. A would have been long vowels were added with no stem change, and F, short vowels were added with no stem change. So that was basically what we had. It got votes, but it didn't win. C and H and B and H, bless you who voted for this. You have my heart. I really wanted those short vowels deleted. And then basically, it was only the case that there would be epenthesis when it was a long vowel plus a long vowel, and it was just whether it was L or N. These were the best options, and so obviously they did not win. I probably should have deleted one of these. We probably should have just decided on empathetic L or N and then just went with it.
Yeah.
And so then maybe they could have competed.
Right.
This was a 2-horse race. It was D plus I or E plus I. And basically, D or E is whether it's epenthetic L or N. And I is the short vowel coalescence. So basically, it's... where we are, D and E.
Wait.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the short vowels coalesce. Long vowels, when they're added, require epenthesis. And so the question was whether it was going to be an L or an N. That's epenthetic. I mean, basically, we know that this strategy won. All right. And the winner is, let's see, so D is L. Yeah, D is L and E is N. So let's see, it's tied here. I'm pretty sure it's N.
Do you want me to?
Yeah, it's N.
You sure? Okay.
No, I got it. Yep.
Okay.
N is the winner. And so there we go.
You know, I feel like that is good.
It's not bad.
Because I want to say that our epenthetic consonant in Mokutiju is L.
Yeah,
because it was an R
right, it was
originally. And so this kind of, sets it apart a little bit. And like where we have epenthetic consonants here is very different, I think. And so, I don't know, I think that's nice.
All right, yeah, so it's nice. All right, so let's...
oh, I even had this open because I was going to...
put that up. We're going to put Lexergy in here. Good old Lexergy created by Graham Hill. Check it out for your sound changes. And let's do it. So basically, long vowels always require an N.
Did you see the Google little
No, the
doodle
Google
today?
Doodle.
Look at those turtle fountains.
Is that an owl? Oh, wow.
Well, it's a bird on a leaf. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah, it's an owl, all right.
It's supposed to be surfing. Based on the surf provided by the turtle fountains.
That's really cute. No fill. There we go. All right, so this is going to be Sasani, Kimi, Ali, BV, Tafi. All right, perfect. And now let's go up here. Same thing. So Thakini, Balini, Ali. Oh, that's C. Perfect.
And are you feeling better? Because I know you were never on board with the vowel hiatus thing in full.
Yeah. I need to go back and look at what we did for these adjective ones.
I thought most of those were actually the short vowels.
There is some sort of background noise I'm hearing.
Was it me getting up?
Yeah, we don't even have the air conditioner going right now. You sure about that? Also, I can't tell if you're having your own discussion or talking about the language. This D to L change, we don't have that in this language.
Or just asking in general, perhaps. I needed to change glasses.
Yeah, it's actually quite silent in here.
Really, maybe that's the background noise they're hearing. They're like, when does
Wait
that
a minute.
happen?
Hang on.
Are we using the wrong thing?
Let's look. No, Yeti. Yeah, that's good.
And in OBS, it's got all the right inputs.
Take a look. Audio.
Is it my stomach?
Yeah.
Are they
Yeah,
hearing
that's
my
good.
stomach?
It might be.
If you're hearing random little growlings,
Happens when you do things. It went away when I muted you.
but yeah, if you hear little growlings, my stomach is very noisy right now. It just sometimes decides I need to be eating when I'm doing other things and then gets very noisy.
By the
Even
way,
though it's not hungry, it's just like, I need you to know that you could feed me.
I want to mention, by the way, that Dino Nid, the icon, it's probably just assigned to you. No, because they usually do a letter. It reminds me of the flag for Hegel, the dogs, and I should add those as little thingies, because we can have our own thingies. Should do that. All right. Okay, so that takes care of the long vowel ones. So now we need to talk about the short vowel ones. Okay. So, that's...
I thought we had only run into it. Well, this is one of the ones where we had a problem, right? That was the.
That beef, that tough. Okay, that's easy.
That one wouldn't have been Vana. Because it was short vowel plus long vowel. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now this one, where does this adjective come from?
And Dino Nid's logo is a logo that they made for a dragon race for their first conlang years ago.
Oh, that's really cool.
It represents horns on tops, wings on side, and tail on bottom.
Oh, yeah, that's nice. Here comes the air conditioning.
And Jonathan is saying it may be something that they just didn't notice before, but it seems to be something with the mouse clicking and keyboard typing. So it's something to do with that. Yeah, now the air conditioning is.
Yeah. If you want, though, we can fix that sound for you if you send us some chocolate espresso cookies.
I mean, or we could just have Jonathan here live and then they wouldn't have to listen to it through
That's true.
the stream, and then they could just make us cookies here.
I swear nobody gets the tickets to our live showings, even though they're free. The audience is empty every single week.
That's why we put pictures on the wall, so we feel like people are out there.
All right, so okay, we need to figure this out. So, Faye, let's see where this comes from, because E is a big vowel in this language. Tana?
What's wrong? Why?
What? It, the prefix for something becoming an adjective is na? Like, I suppose it could be tooth and the K gets deleted, but nothing else makes sense. Wait. Oh, no, it is that. It is that. And this is how we know. Because here we have tai plus all becomes big or large.
I am so confused about what you're trying to track down right now.
Oak.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so it means like an
this
oak
one.
tree. So th plus all means like an oak tree, and it's big, large. So technically, by our new rule, this is a long vowel, and so it should always be the. And if it's added to a vowel, it should be thenal, not thal. Which means our word for big or large is going to be big or large. Yeah. I really, really don't remember, though. I really don't remember why we chose the verb for na as a prefix that turns a noun into an adjective. Maybe it gnaws like, it tastes like, something like that.
Oh, it chews like it.
Choose like it. Okay.
I remember that.
Okay. Also,
okay,
though,
so because this is... Oh, sorry. Also, go on, and then I have
no,
a
this
question.
is really important. We need to get to this first. As you know, Kopiko is a candy that's associated with a coffee company. They were a coffee company first, and then they started making these candies. And the candies became internationally famous. But that means that their coffee exists, which means that Jonathan could make chocolate espresso cookies using Kopiko coffee. Mm-hmm. Throwing that out there. I have no idea if it's purchasable in the United States. It might be. I don't know.
Jonathan had to say state grammar. They have something else to get to, and so bye, Jonathan.
Oh.
Look forward to seeing you around.
Jonathan actually is a performer, so maybe they're actually performing in Taming of the Shrew.
Could be.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be very cool.
All right.
Okay, so my question was, because I remember when we originally settled how to do this prefix, we followed the 3 vowel sequence rule that we have in our sound changes. Now, because of the new rule,
It's just going to get a na.
it's going to get an N
An
in
N.
it. Even when it's 2 vowels plus a short vowel, and we already have a sound change that accounts for that?
Yes. I mean, that...
So any prefix or suffix, we're going to do this insertion.
I
For whatever
believe.
reason, in my head, I thought it was when you had long vowel, and so you get that sequence of 4, and there's no way to push it together.
No, see, long vowels require epenthetic N. And so you can see even when it's... because we actually have a way to handle this, too.
Yeah, we do.
This would just become sase with the VVV sequence.
Yeah.
So essentially what this is going to be doing...
It was because as we were doing that, they all started conflating and just looking like partitives.
Yes. And so essentially this is going to
Okay.
be like a time dating thing. It's kind of like in Spanish, if you see a word that is obviously of Latin origin that begins with an F, like familia, you know that this was a learned borrowing that came into the language later. Because everything that was just passed along that way, the F became an H. And this is why you have, frère for brother in French, but hermano in Spanish, where the F has become an H and the H was deleted. All right. So basically, this is going to be something that's associated, I guess, primarily with morphology. Because, like, the time that this sound change, this triple thing sound changes would have been active would have been after, or would have been dead, essentially, by the time that this became a prefix. That's the theory.
We got to work on keeping you in front of your camera when you turn to me, and same for me. I gotta work on staying in front of my camera. Otherwise, your face just absolutely goes off screen.
Am I not as attractive? Because that's all I care about.
You leave the screen, and how can people admire your attractiveness if it's not there?
Yeah, I'm not sold on this new haircut yet. I might need to make some minor adjustments.
Oh no, it falls really well every time you, and then it just comes.
And then it doesn't. Okay, thin audace. Okay, and our word for large is now. That's archaic. Oh wait, but that's good that I went to that because it's now thinal.
Mm-hmm.
What is this ta? Can be used. That's right. That already. Okay, and so this becomes thinal. Good. And I don't think that we've used this outside of that single word. Yeah, we haven't. So that is done and good. And we can change this in the dictionary. Big goes from thal to thinal, and large.
Oh, you're on it. Never mind. It's like I could have been doing that instead of just reading chat.
Okay. The last thing that we have to do is write somewhere in the grammar that we've made this decision. I've learned my lesson.
I feel like it would be a special, like, here's the sound changes, and then like a separator, and then like here are sound changes that apply at a later stage and thus affect, here's where derivations, the prefixes and suffixes are joined, and here's the sound changes as affected.
Where's the triple length reduction or the triple vowel
early
reduction?
I thought.
I see the double vowel.
It's 12.
Space here.
Sound change 12.
Yeah. This is where I'm going to add it. I need to take this. Oh, and then there's also the VV simplification. Yeah. Okay. As a special note, occasionally triple or even quadruple vowel sequences occur as a result of affixation. Outside the partitive, which is quite old, and also still thinking of that success.
Success.
It's so wild because, of course, there are so many words in English that end with SS. Yeah. There are tons of them. But there was only one in that data set, and it's so infuriating.
Well, that was another thing that I found difficult with the challenge was that, you know so much about English. And so, like, I found myself wanting to account for what I know would show up if we have more data, such as a Y acting as a consonant. Somehow I pulled a data set where the Y's all had to be vowels. Like, and when you think about English, like, that's actually pretty, like, sure, we use Y as a vowel a lot, but think about the number of words also that we have where it kind of needs to be a consonant, and I didn't pull a single one of those. And so, like, I found myself trying to account for them, and then I'm like, why? They're not here. And so, but the one double S, double C, double S, one word, and a final double S. That was intense.
Yeah, the double C I was fine with because, at least it was in, the right position. It was kind of cute for, yes. But that double S, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of something very specific. And I think many people who went through undergraduate linguistics instruction will be familiar with this feeling, especially like before you've learned a lot, before you feel very comfortable with things like phonological or morphological analysis. You're given a data set, you come up with a solution, and it neatly explains everything in the data except for one form. And of course, your immediate reaction is, well, it must be a typo. And so it's like you send an email to your professor or your GSI, and it's like, hey, my friends and I were working on the assignment. We were just wondering if there was a typo in the data. Maybe there was like something wrong there. And then like you get an email back right away. No, we can assure you there's no typo in the data. And then you email back like, are you sure? Like, what about with this form? It's like, again, there is no typo in the data. And it's just like, you realize that this incredible solution you came up with
Has to be wrong.
it's not just has to be wrong. It's probably not even close. Like, it's probably something totally different because you didn't account for that one little form. That was success in the data set that Jesse gave us. Oh, well, and I just, I'm not in college anymore. I just ignored it.
And Jake did have a good
Jake
resolution.
Jake did.
I had a disappearing schwa that accounted for it.
Jake had something similar. So Jake had something very clever because Jake mentioned this in Discord. And so there is a sound change. And again, those of you who have studied Chinese, you can fill out the details in chat. But there is some dialect of Chinese where the vowel I goes to Z after a aspirant. And so C becomes S, S, something like that. And so you have S, S, and then Z and Z. Something to that effect. Maybe Z, sorry. And so Jake was the only one, and this was kind of a surprise, that used orthographic Y, saying that was a bardi. Many of us did, but bardi perfectly licit for something that is like that and used as a vowel. And they said that the barred I goes to S after, was it just S or no?
I think it was just after S, but I could be wrong.
I don't
But
remember
I
the
also
sound
think
change
that was the
specifically.
only thing in...
It was the only place
only-
where it was relevant.
And yeah, in the data set, that was the only consonant that would have matched, I think, anyway. So, yeah. Also, Magpie, I see, like, I know that you worked on the challenge. You didn't submit anything to me, right? Like, now I'm absolutely in my head thinking, oh no, I missed Magpie's work. And I did the episode and didn't include your work.
Magpie didn't end up sending theirs.
Oh,
They
okay.
started but didn't finish.
Thank goodness. I
Totally okay.
really thought I was suddenly like, oh no. But anyway,
Oh, that's right. No, Jake didn't have any of their sibilants. Actually, I think most of us didn't. I don't know if most of us didn't, but I sure didn't. I only had the one.
there were, well, anyone who treated the C like the T and Ch, those are technically part of the sibilant family.
You're right.
And so I did. And then I think half of the patrons, because I want to say it was like once I started talking about sounds from like Patrick Ardiaz and more. Danielle was the first one. It was from Danielle down the list. Everyone did chuz from there on out. So yeah.
And incidentally, I thought that was the easiest and most obvious way to go. I forget what led me to my solution. I think it was that there wasn't a ja and there wasn't like a ta anywhere. There wasn't a z, and like, I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it, especially if you were going to have sh spelled sh, then why wouldn't c be ch? And then I was just like, you know what, let's just get rid of the post-alveolar column entirely. And I really liked the ch thing, which, by the way, was inspired by German, where in German, the ch, right, is in perfect complementary distribution most of the time. But so then the question is, well, what about if it begins a word, which is rare? And the answer is that it is ch.
Which, okay, so that is interesting. Yeah, I tried to make potential allophones, but then I was like, but if it's a predictable, you pronounce it this way and then this way, the romanization shouldn't change as much as it does if it's just like, the spelling of CH in German is still CH. You just know, back vowels, it goes back a little, front vowels, it comes up a little.
Well, in English we spell it H at the beginning of the word and NG at the end of the word, even though that's one phoneme.
The H is an Enigma? Is that what you're saying? Don't mess with my brain right now. But anyway, yeah, so I was I went back and forth on sounds, and then I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna try to be as basic as possible and say that roughly anything that can line up with IPA is IPA, and done. And my sound changes were then just to account for why would this be pronounced like that if I want the suffix or the prefix to change. And of course the sound changes to account for the geminates, consonant clusters, and the SS.
Yeah. By the way, quick question. When you're talking about affixation, an affix is added to, do you call it a stem? Because, of course, it could be added to a root, but it could also be added to something that's already been modified. Do you call that a stem? What's the word for that?
I think base is the bigger
the base.
one because
Thank you.
stem,
That's the word.
I think very technically speaking, a stem is a type of base that can take an inflection versus a base can be anything you add an affix to, whether it's a root, whether it's like that can't stand alone, or whether it's something that already has like a derivation and you add another derivation or whatever.
All right. Well, there we go. So that is now written in there so that we won't forget it. We've got derivational examples in both the nominal and verbal realm. Yeah, I think it's time.
Also, in case you didn't see. Look down.
Oh, hello.
I drew David a little mouse that said hi to him.
By the way...
And then showed him the page, and he still didn't see the mouse.
Oh. Matthias, by the way, is bringing up die chance, which for some weird reason is borrowed from French. But of course, there, it's pronounced like a sh, it's not pronounced cha. Which, if there was a word in German that began with ch that was pronounced cha, that would be a counterexample. All right.
Yeah, and Jake, and I know I said it in the podcast too, I thought it was cool what Bubba ended up doing with the stops. But yeah, and it's also Magpie, to your point.
Yeah.
Honestly, my brain went so hardcore to like, oh, SH is a sh, it's a digraph, of course. That when I saw Jake's analysis, I was like, right. It could be a coda and an onset, of course. But sometimes your brain just goes to a jump and doesn't necessarily consider the other jumps that you had to take to get there.
Yep.
I've already opened mine, so cheers.
Cheers. Do I hold it up with the packaging?
There you go. Copico. What's our slogan?
Copico. Enjoy it even if yours is already opened. You still eat it.
Well, I opened it. It wasn't just open.
You did that?
That's concerning.
Oh, Greek-derived words. Cheers. This one's been weathered a little. You can taste it. How about chaos?
Sorry.
Do you happen to know who's the most fluent German speaker here? Maybe. Yeah, but I worry about the influence or the interference from Dutch. So certainly chaos has been just borrowed from Greek into German. How is it pronounced? Is it chaos? Let's take a little journey to the wilds of the internet. And put the capital letter in there because... Oh, it's just pronounced with a K. And it is neuter. Das Chaos. Interesting. All right. All right.
How's it pronounced in Dutch?
I might have to put in the lowercase version of that. I put uppercase just because I wanted
I just want to
German
know if the vowel
specifically.
does something different.
Chaos.
Oh,
Probably because it's borrowed.
wow. But you get a h?
Mm-hmm.
That is fun.
Wow, they reinstated the H. Because Middle Dutch just had CAOS. Very interesting.
Oh my gosh.
Did you?
You
really?
did just say that, Matthijs.
Where?
Up here, that's how the whole comment started. In Dutch, the X, the IPA value X, will appear as CH initially sometimes.
Oh, no, but that wasn't... No, he was...
Yeah, and always in words like chaos that are Greek derived, so it starts with a ch.
Yeah, but the thing we were surprised by was the vowel. Because, Dutch and its vowels.
No, I was surprised by the ch. And
Oh, really?
then Matthijs is like, I literally just said that. And then I had to go back and reread the comment because I misread it the first time. And I was like, dang, you did.
Oh, I remembered. I just wanted to go look at it because of the vowels. Anyway. Good. So we got a couple of derivations. That's good. We've already taken care of comparison, right?
Yeah. I hope so.
Yep.
I
That's
remember
right.
drawing a diagram.
Mat is tall in honor of Matthijs. Pretty sure, right?
Bye, George.
Later, George. Got our demonstratives.
I think now we were down to some things you kept pushing off. Coordination,
Relativization.
relative clauses,
Questions.
and questions.
Oh,
Is there an echo in here?
conlang is boring.
It's a Giuseppe.
Gopico is so tasty. Also, I think I just hold up the candy. I don't think I hold up the wrapper. It's been so long.
Since last Thursday?
No, we weren't here last Thursday. It was Thursday before that. Last
Last Thursday was
Comic-Con.
Comic-Con.
All right. And it looks like, yeah, we have the adverbs taken care of.
What do you want to tackle next, partner? Where does the Conlang kid go from here?
What's this? Hold on a sec. These two are identical, but this one has brackets around it and it means something different. I guess they're just ambiguous. Yeah. I didn't like that MN sequence either, huh? All right, let's talk coordination because I know that you're a fan of it. And so that means you'll just take care of it for us.
I know you don't like glossing things, but I am now just staring at these examples trying to remember what means what and how we got here in the first place.
Beaver, grass, and that's its, object marker. And then thunthu is chew. Suk is fast. Na is a copula.
So it is incorrect to say adverbs occur directly before the verb?
This is the verb.
Waiting for you to highlight something different.
What? No, that's the verb. Na.
So the beaver is fast. Where's our adverb?
The adjective is essentially interpreted as an adverb.
So in all of these, suk is the adverb.
Except for here, it's just... This is the literal interpretation. Here, this might help.
But it doesn't make sense to just say it occurs directly before the verb because, yeah, that's technically an adverb, but this is the verb that matters for the bigger meaning of the sentence. And so, and it gets sort of deverbed.
Kauki crisp.
What is na?
It's the copula.
You see, I swear your method of documentation assumes that you remember things better than I do. And I am so lost right now that
Oh.
it's the imperfective. It's an imperfect marker.
It just
It just crashed
It just
on
crashed.
you. So you're going to need to blank out the screen before you open.
Okay.
Okay.
I know. Swiss German cheese is spelled C-H-A umlaut S. That. But it's still pronounced the same. Well, not the same. Because it'd be Kaz. Okay. All right.
So in chat, it's like there's this conversation, and then Jake, I feel out of the blue, says someone has tried to log into my Wikipedia account 30 times. Is someone trying to impersonate you, Jake, to like make changes and blame you? Whoa. And someone was successful?
Making dozens of edits to the Tiananmen Square page.
Wow. Okay.
All right. So felt like I was going to pull something up. Oh, right. I was going to look at thontu, which I think is just the bare form of to chew. And it is. And so ends with a U. It's just the infinitive form.
Well, Jake, they may have also been trying to see if the password really worked and then seeing if you double use the password on other accounts. I don't know. Like,
True.
that is so bizarre. But I'm glad nothing major came of that, and goodness gracious.
All right. So I know I understand why you want to change the wording here, but right now I think that we have to look at this to see if that is in fact true. So that would be suk sale odasing thu na. Does this make sense? Fast the beaver grass chews is. Now, is that how you say the beaver is chewing something? The beaver is chewing the grass. Yes. Thu na. Okay. So this is peculiar, and I'll show you why. Based on this, we understand what the history of the phrase is. The actual verb is the beaver is fast. And what you're saying is the beaver is fast to chew the grass, right? And that's how we got the beaver is chewing the grass quickly. Now here, if you pull that out in front, I mean, it's kind of a question, what the heck is it doing out there? But you're left with this sentence, Saleo dasing funtuna, which just looks like the beaver is chewing the grass. And the thing that makes this strange is here, the original object was suk. And that's why it's the beaver is quick to chew the grass. Here it looks like the object is in fact thunthu, which makes it look like a normal clause, right? Mm-hmm. And that was why I asked the question, is this true? Can we actually do that? Or is this sentence just interpreted totally differently?
We also only give one example. Even though we say, there's manner, location, and temporal.
Yeah, we just shunted that off to later.
We're like, whatever, we're just going to do manner, and we only looked at manner that could be expressed by means of something like a root, not by like the beaver chewed grass with a limp. That doesn't make sense, but you know what I mean. Right now, my brain is going back and forth because it's like on the one hand, it's like, no, it doesn't make as much sense. On the other hand, because Saleudasing Luthuna is just how you say the beaver is chewing the grass, I feel like if you heard that with Suk out in front, it's like,
yeah,
what else is Suk doing there but to say fast?
Yeah, and so one of the key polls for this language was determining that we were going to have adjectival roots.
Yeah.
And
so could that be the fast beaver?
No. It would have to be salut suk.
Right, because then we would need
yeah.
the partitive, and it'd be a whole thing. So literally,
yeah.
What else is fast doing out there but to be an adverb?
Yeah, and I think it also, if we allow that, it helps to reinforce that it is an adverb as opposed to just a predicative adjective. So, yeah, I think that we can do this. And so this will be quickly the beaver is chewing the grass. Something to that effect. All right. Before the tense element. Does that make you happier?
I mean, listen, like at this point, I can't even figure out where na came from, so
It's just a copula, and it's conjugated.
It has no dictionary entry, it has no meaning, it has no root. I don't know where it came from. I was just trying to figure out to better understand in my head how this worked, and I couldn't figure it out. And so I was just pointing out that it's like I nod to David's hatred of glossing, and I understand that adds a level of analysis that he doesn't like, so I understand, but I need that level of analysis because I literally don't remember how this language works. Or any language when we go into our documents like this, and I have to literally look up every component to remind myself what means what.
Well, what would you write other than it's a copula?
But didn't it come from something? Did we just say na is going to be our imperfective marker? Because that's what it is. It's an imperfect.
It's a copula, though. Here, hold on a sec. See, so like, we have the negative ones. The beaver is a friend. Sale, lanath, sa. That's permanent. Sale, lanath, na for the moment. Then we have used to be and will be. Vedama. So and then they're used with verbs.
But like they came from something. I remember we had a whole thing. I remember writing out things for us to like vote on, and like we did a whole thing, and like I keep just using the word thing over and over again, but like it means something more than just copula. Like it had a root before it was na.
Yeah, it's let's see here. Okay, well there was a poll about it. Miles is saying scroll up, it was right up there. To swim. That's right.
Okay. There it is. Okay.
Build, sasa, sit, na, swim.
Thank you, Miles. So I was like, I can vaguely remember creating things and having votes and doing all this, but then I could not figure out where na came from, and it was really messing with my ability to parse how we had done things. Okay.
Have we not added that? Looks like we didn't add that verb, so we might as well add that verb right now. I'll go ahead and do that.
We haven't added to build, which is future.
Here we go. Oh, poof is dive and naf is swim. That's cute.
We did do to sit though, so that's good. And we have not done any of the other auxiliaries. So to sit is the only one we have actually entered out of that whole list. Oh, I was going down to do that. You beat me. God, I can't even trust my brain to remember these while I scroll through the document. And then I'm also
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah.
thinking about coordination possibilities, because I believe you had recently said you may be willing to talk about that, but only if I come up with things.
Yeah.
Okay. Got those
Interesting.
notes written.
So that is actually the short.
All right. So we
Huh. Wait a minute. I think I made a mistake. No, this is
what mistake?
I don't think this is accurate. I think this is supposed to be ah. So I hope that isn't a. I think maybe we changed our minds. That's certainly, yeah, because it's weird like that, but Yeah, this should be an A. Yeah, leads A, and that's just should be leads A. I think we changed our minds, or on whether the long vowel should shorten, because this is supposed to be a regular thing for A, and you can see the long vowel there. I think that we ultimately changed our minds on that one.
Okay.
All right, now that's up to date.
I'm looking up a lot of different things right now just to remember what we have. Is there something else we want to do while I'm trying to come up with some ideas for coordination? Or do you want to save coordination for the poll, and I can come up with multiple ideas to present to you, which then you decide which ones will go up for a vote?
I think that would be delightful if you feel up to it.
Okay. So then, because I want to have something kind of cool. But I also feel like it's going to take, some brainstorming, and that is not necessarily fun to watch on a live stream.
I mean, I think it's fun.
Watching me think?
Yeah. Yeah? Are you kidding? Yeah, I'm big into that.
Match made in heaven right here, I guess.
All right, so let me go back to saw.
Jake. This is a moment where, I wish you had said that in person. I would have laughed even harder than I just did, because the delivery I would love to hear in your voice. You've got just such a great delivery for lines like that, and so I wish I had heard that real life, and then, oh goodness, I would have just fallen out of my chair practically, laughing so hard.
You listen here, Jake. Literally dozens of Missouri residents have telephones now.
Anyway, hey, it's very exciting. My parents finally, well, they have Wi-Fi. They still don't have really good cell phone service, but hopefully the Wi-Fi will carry what we need.
Yeah.
Cell phones are still awful.
Apparently it bothers Jesse when the things on the inside of my sleeves are flipped up.
I want people to know.
Correct.
Nobody saw. That was outside of... Nobody needed to know I touched your sleeve.
Okay, wait. What were we calling this imperfective? What? Present imperfect. What were we calling that?
What? Imperfect is what we were calling it below.
Imperfect. And then state? Habitual status.
Oh, like in the actual copular section?
Yeah. Habitual status. Habitual stative is what we called that.
Yeah.
And then, so this one will be imperfect, I guess temporary. Is there another word for that?
I think that summarizes what it means.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, that's been added now. So now we've got those.
I took notes too. I mean, if you got time to kill, we didn't enter to build, to pat with tail, or to dam up. And those are all.
Hey, we've got a couple of adverbs in the dictionary.
Yay!
So we can add those.
We can, add them up above in our examples.
Yeah. So in this case, they'll be the same place. Locative. Let's call these. Well, I'll call them locational. Adverbs occur wherever a prepositional, postpositional, right? Because we have postpositions, and phrase would ordinarily occur in the sentence structure. Okay, so the beaver is chewing grass there. Sale a sin thuntu. And then I think that's vas. Yes. Vas. Sale a sin vas tuntuna.
So location is different than manner here
Sure is.
because it's a, and when I say true adverb, I mean it's like it has become an adverb, and so it can't be like the beaver is there to chew grass.
I mean, it could, but that's not its base form. It is essentially a. It is a. It has its roots in a postpositional phrase.
So it goes before the true verb and not before na.
Yeah, because essentially it goes where a postpositional phrase would, and so for these, I think that's after the argument structure. We can have this discussion. It could be in between the object and subject. It depends where you think it would naturally go. So we had if we go back to just the beaver is chewing the grass, sale is beaver, odasing, the grass, thuntu, chew, na is.
And ing is the object marker, right?
Yeah. And so, let's say that we wanted to do on the table. The beaver is chewing grass on the table. Where do you think on the table would go? So we have beaver, grass, and what I was suggesting is that it would be on the table, chews is. But it could be the beaver on the table, grass, chews. Feels like that would be more of a modifier, though, wouldn't it?
Well, the way you said it in English, that would be like, which beaver chewed grass? The beaver on the table. But that doesn't mean that that's how we need to treat it, here.
I'm supposed to scoot this over.
So we really kind of need to separate these out because the issues are distinct. Adverbs that are not true adverbs but are adjectives that we're treating like adverbs.
Yeah, and that's
get
why
placed before the tense. Right, but nowhere in this introduction does this say, because it just says in general, adverbs occur directly before the tense element.
Oh, well, that was just because I meant to say manner.
Okay, so because most manner adverbs are going to come from some sort of adjective thing.
Mm-hmm.
If they are postpositional or different, then they would follow what we do with other adverbs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, and we don't have any examples yet of postpositional phrases, right? clause structures? Like this is our first.
We do, but they are
We
all...
do have Dan the Beaver, right?
Yeah.
So the ta salu. And then I don't remember what the O is. The O has to be part of the salu because almat saluta. Emphatic. That's emphatic. Okay. So oak tall is, here's the postposition phrase.
But that's it's not a great example because there's no object in that one. So unless it was going to go before the subject, which seems unlikely, it would have to go there.
But okay. It just seems to me like we put postpositional phrases between the adjective and the copula, but then down here we put the adverb. We put the adverb in the same place, different place?
But it's a different clause structure. Because the base sentence is not, if you can go back, please.
Sorry, I'm trying to find more examples. This is literally the only postposition phrase we have.
Well, not necessarily, but here it's not. You're saying the oak is taller. You're saying the tall oak is over the beaver.
But it can't be because al is not partitive. So it's not the tall oak, it's the oak is tall, felling the beaver.
Oh dear.
Because the tall oak is alumat.
It sure is. It would have to be. This was...
And I remember this is specifically the structure that... I remember talking about it, and I remember it being that, like, the oak is tall, and then felling the beaver is like this, if you want to specify a standard of comparison. Because otherwise you would just say, like, almatna, the oak is tall. You can say it's very tall. You can have almatona, it's very tall. But, like, the felling the beaver is supposed to be a postposition phrase. It's like, beating or shadowing the beaver. It's this feature.
Yeah, that looks wrong.
And I'm just saying, like, we placed it exactly where we said we were going to place adverbs down below. And so I feel like the analysis was that it does go before the verb. It's just in here the verb is the na.
Well, it also feels like this could be a verb, a non-finite verb. And this would be its object. No, this is wrong.
Well, it's not, though, because ta is no longer the verb form. Like, the full verb is tapa.
It is.
Yeah. So, like, that's not how you say to fell. So, like, it's been reduced. It is a postposition. And so, like, there could be a homophone that exists where, that...
That's weird, because essentially then what this looks like is a modifier. So that the adjective is actually this. Kind of like if you would say, like, it'd be that ambiguous thing in English where you say the beaver sees the mouse with glasses, and the question is, who has the glasses? And I always felt like in this language, we haven't specified it. This is why we needed to get to relative clauses. It would be the beaver with glasses the mouse sees means the beaver has the glasses. The beaver the mouse with glasses sees would mean that the mouse has the glasses, or just that the glasses is the instrument of the verb. Unless we wanted to throw that after the verb and say the beaver the mouse sees with glasses is, seeing with glasses is, and then that becomes the modifier of the verb. Oh boy.
So what you're saying is right now what it seems like is that mat is the head word, saluta is a sort of modifying thing for mat.
Yeah. Otherwise, I just don't understand why we put this here and not there after all. I know this was a poll.
But then that makes me wonder why you couldn't then put suk before olasing thuthu to be like the beaver is quick and then to chew the grass is describing the quickness.
Oh, no.
Like it seems like the suk should actually be here if the pattern up above is what we're building.
Oh, I see.
Like in this one, no, because this one is a different interpretation, but like in the beaver is quick to chew the grass, like this, which is at this point a non-finite verb.
Yeah.
So it's just to chew the grass.
It's a subordinate clause.
And suk would be the head word. Like the beaver is quick,
Yeah.
but only in chewing the grass.
Yeah. And so this is essentially a subordinate clause. So I've gone back to the poll.
Okay. Oh, do you want to move your screen over if you want other people to see it?
You're right. Thank you. So A obviously didn't win. I think B was, B was the winner.
And so one of the key elements is that in general, if you just want to say the oak is taller or just very tall, you would just use that emphatic O marker. And so almatna becomes almatona, and you just understand that you're comparing the tree to something to say that it's big or very big, but you don't need to otherwise specify unless you super want to. And if you do want to say what it is you're comparing the tree's tallness to,
So
you include this postposition phrase.
I have to say, this looks a lot like what I was suggesting, where all is the subject, mat is the object, and then you put the postpositional phrases after.
So how does that...
So like this is like it's where it's supposed to be. All is the subject, mat is the object, then you put your postpositional phrases, then you put your verb.
Okay.
So there's nothing wrong with it.
Okay. So going back then, can we revisit then specifically this bulleted adverb? Where following that logic, I feel like suk should follow sale.
I don't think so. Because this is a subordinate clause that's governed by this. And it comes last because of the head final nature of the language.
In this one, the way the translation is worded, I don't know why we did the bracketing on this one, but the way the translation is worded, effectively what we're saying is it's an adjective here, not an adverb.
Yeah.
So this is adjective placement. Here, where it's intended to be an adverb, if it does go before the verb, shouldn't it come before thuthu?
No. Because this is essentially the history of it. These things are ambiguous. This is the original meaning, and so that's why the ordering is like this.
Okay. All right, we're just gonna go with it. Let's move on.
Well, do you disagree?
I am incredibly my brain is not settled. Like it's not clicking. It feels unsettled, but also languages do things, and we can move on. I would like to get some actual postposition phrases built that are clearly adverbial and not intended to be comparatives or something special, but like that are just clearly like
What about
the beaver is chewing the grass in the park or something like that, where it's like
the beaver is giving the grass to the frog?
No, because there the preposition phrase is not, because here bungaing is the object. Mo is the special thing, and that's working with grass.
Mo is secondary object?
Yeah. And it goes before bunga, which here is being treated as the object, which is marked with an ing.
What about this one? These two down there. Go scroll down.
Ta must be the verb.
Yeah, saw is the postposition.
That's a locational.
Mm-hmm.
But this is also secondary object.
Well, in this case, though, that's what the object gets. It gets mo because
Right. So I guess what I'm just saying is like, could we create a sentence where the ing marker is clearly the just like it's a regular object. Here's where you put postposition phrases. Here's where adverbs go.
well, this is an example.
Okay, but there's no ing, and so like my brain is like, I need the very clear examples where it's like it's not a weird verb. It's not like. And so that's why I said let's just move on, because like I feel I need a lot more baby steps than your brain needs. And so like I am still struggling with seeing how these structures are coming together and how we're going to treat adverbs in general.
I thought this would help because essentially ing and mo are the only special postpositions. There's nothing special about saw. It is a purely locative postposition, and it's been placed after the primary argument structure.
Okay.
And so that tells us that postpositional phrases don't go inside of the primary argument structure.
But I also, from the other example, see that mo is a weird one anyway and gets placed differently. Because it gets placed before the ing and the beaver is giving the grass to the frog. So it's like, that's just sort of like, it has a weird placement anyway.
It does, but those are its own rules. Here we go. So go up to page 15.
Okay. And this one, for some reason I was thinking that needed to be partitive, but that one is not, it's not odasung, it's odasing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then kasbasa on the rock, so it's giving a location where the beaver is doing something. goes before thuthu. Okay. And it goes before thuthu. Okay. Can we? Okay. Yeah.
This sentence shouldn't go here in terms of the flow of the document.
I would love for it to actually go right here. Locational adverbs, where postpositional phrases occur. If we just had those two examples back to back, it would be like Oda sing bas, Oda sing kasba sa. Okay. Now I'm remembering that we made rock kasba because rock the kasba.
Yeah.
Okay. I have no idea what we were doing before that.
Well, now what I would like to do is go back to the adjective. And at least, because of course, it's one thing about understanding what we have done. It's another thing to then extrapolate and say, based on what we have done, I think it should be this. And it's another thing to say that, well, it's not set in stone yet. So this is what I think. This is what I think it is based on what we've written, but we can still change it. So one of the things that I think makes this structure very appealing to me is that we voted for this language to have adjectival roots that were distinct from verb and noun. And so it's, for me, when I see something where it's like, hey, these things are behaving differently, I find that very attractive. Now, when we're talking about manner adverbs here, what we're talking about is this, I mean, because essentially you're always doing this. You're talking about manner adverbs in English. And saying, like, these are the types of adverbs that we have in English. And in English, we have this thing where it's like you take most adjectives, you add ly, and you get a manner adverb, and they behave like this. Here's the equivalent to that in this language. So I do understand that, especially the structure, it's not looking like an adverb, but in effect, that doesn't matter because it's translated as a manner adverb. It's the equivalent structure in English. Now, what these two things do here, and I think that it should be clearer why they're here in this way, is that essentially this was the original structure. We started off, and these are in completely the wrong order. It should be like this. Like that. The beaver is fast. Then we get the beaver is, and I'm going to change this to quick. Beaver is quick. The beaver is quick to chew the grass. Essentially, this thing is the head of a subordinate clause. And it's basically been reinterpreted as this. And because of that, and because there's no other structure that would have an obvious meaning, you're allowed to do this. Because otherwise, this just wouldn't happen, right? And so it might as well happen. And so essentially, you get, with these two clauses, you get the same kind of weirdness that you get with English with a phrase like, I have him bound, where at one point it was like, this is the word order, bound is a verb, and it's just like German, I have him bound. And then the other one is like, actually it's an adjective. And it's like, I have him bound, kind of like I've got him dead to rights. And you hear this phrase, I have him bound, and you can hear both at one point in time. That's what's happening here. But essentially, one of them wins out. And the results, like in English, was, well, the verb should go with the verbs, and that's why the verbs moved next to the auxiliary. Here, the result might end up being that, well, maybe adverbs can just go out in front. Maybe that's just the position for adverbs.
And I do want to point out, because this is actually something that, because at one point you were calling suk the object, and it's not. It's a predicative, and it's treated different. And it's not treated as an object. It's not suk ing. And like,
Yes.
like it's not treated as if it's being marked as an object. And I just wanted to point that out because they do behave differently than objects in some languages. And I run into that with a lot of, when I worked with students, where it's like they would want to say, well, this is the object of the verb. But if it's a true copula, it doesn't actually have a grammatical object, which means they can behave differently.
And I want to explain why I said that it was the object. Because there are two stages of this language, right? There's the old stage and the modern stage. In the modern stage, we have this really cool set of postpositions where we have the primary and secondary object, ing and mo. However, in the old stage, it was really important to figure out, especially as we were designing these postpositions, which ones were objects of verbs and which ones were the product of a genitival construction. Because the postpositions that were essentially nouns and triggered a genitival response, they assign the partitive case to their nouns. The ones that came from verbs, however, didn't assign anything. Because in the original structure of the language, it was just noun, noun, verb, and you're done.
Yeah.
That's why ing doesn't assign the partitive.
Right.
And so essentially, when I said that this thing was being treated like the object, it's the same thing that gave us the reason, like it doesn't have partitive there. It's the same reason that our verbs that co-occur with the copula also don't occur in the partitive. Because essentially it was like these things were kind of treated like little baby objects, as if the verb was an object of the copula, but not like object in the object sense. Object in the, like, the man is a teacher sense. That type of object. And it has its own term for it, and I forget what it is. I forget if it's just predicate or whatever.
Predicate, yeah, predicative. One of those.
Right.
It's a nominal predicative.
Yeah, and so just the same way that the verb doesn't have to have the partitive occur in the partitive, which was our problem when we were doing ajnamri. Because all those verbs, they were infinitives that actually occurred in the accusative, which was one of the things that caused so many problems. We didn't want to do that. And so our verbs, they're just bare. They don't occur in the partitive. The same thing happens with adjectives and also with nouns in predicative constructions. It's noun, noun, copula, no partitive. Noun, adjective, copula, no partitive. All right. And so that's why I was using that terminology. I probably shouldn't have. I should have been clearer with that. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, it's fine. It was just something I wanted to point out because
Yeah.
I see that struggle a lot, and I just wanted to,
Okay. So I think this is good. We should maybe go back to our comparatives, make sure that we're happy with that.
Yeah. Although I do see the comparative as a later development. And so I feel like you would add then the beaver.
Yeah, we should, yeah.
Because you can't say, like, you can't imagine a state of the language where you say the beaver is tall to fell the oak is tall to fell the beaver. So it's not
Right.
a manner. So it's not like you can't imagine the same line of logic that we just saw. So instead it would end up getting treated like any other postpositional phrase, which goes directly before the verb. And in this case, the verb is na. Like the verb is na. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like it's not, here it is not modifying mat
Yeah.
in the same way. It's more modified, like you could put it out front. Like I could imagine you like could pull this out front like you could an adverb. Felling the beaver, the oak is tall. Like not that they could or would, but like logically
Yes.
you could do that. Whereas it doesn't work as well to say like chewing the grass, the beaver is quick. Well, I guess you could. But anyway, it feels different. It feels different. What it's doing is modifying two different things.
And so, really, I think the only question here is looking at these two sentences. Do we feel that it taxes working memory to essentially have these two things hanging out at the front that are unresolved until you get to na?
To me, no.
Okay.
Because one, it's normally going to be pretty small. Saluta. It's normally just going to be like bum bum. Two, that it's not the tall tree or the tall oak does
Yes.
something. Like,
Right.
that because there is no partitive. You don't get the alumat. So it's like you understand right away if you get al-mat, oak, tall, like your prediction is, okay, it's going to be sa or na. Like, it's just like we're dealing with a copula here. And so the putting something in between is just like, I'm giving you more information, but your brain totally already knows what's coming.
Okay.
At least that's how I would interpret that. And also, if you recall what we just said about manner adverbs, and so, for instance, if you're worried that, like, the beaver is quicker than the river, if we wanted to, say the beaver runs quick like a river or something like that, the quick could go in front of beaver, but it would not go beaver quick. And here we've got oak tall. And so
Right.
if for some reason we wanted to say the oak is tallly felling the beaver, I don't know. Mat would have to it would have to go before al or before the na. Like, you couldn't get this placement except in this construction, which means your brain knows what's coming.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, thank you. That was really well explained.
Oh gosh, we're at the end of the stream and all we did was talk about what we've already done in the past because I had totally forgotten how this works. I'm
bit.
sorry, babe.
A little bit, but we're going to have something new in the poll, and that we're going to deal with coordination. And so, like with the last few minutes, we could either start talking about potential coordination strategies, or we can deal with something that we've shunted to the side, which is the beaver swims more quickly than the mouse.
Okay, so we have shunted that. Also, though, like I kind of wanted to, we'll get into that. I was going to say, like, we could also start thinking about the mapping outs of how relative clauses will work in terms of, like, here's the clause structure, here's where we think relative clauses will go, and then that can give a structure within which to work. But you're right. Okay, this is something we should be able to do because we've got quick, we've got different, we can say, like, the beaver chews grass more quickly than the mouse. I think we have mouse.
I think we do. No, we don't. What do we have? A possum?
We have something, right? What other animal did
Dog? Cat?
Did we get turtle? We should have a turtle in here. No.
No. We don't have a single other animal?
How do
that
we-
seems wrong.
I totally thought we had something else.
Rabbit? No.
Okay, you know what? I'm just going to search through the English side of the dictionary. If you want to go ahead and set up like a little section, I'm going to find something. Bird. We have a bird. Yeah, because those birds don't chew. So
the famous birds of LangTime.
that obviously chew. We have frog. If you want to have frog,
Oh, that's right.
is a bunga.
Yeah.
See, we got animals. We obviously need more, but we'll get there.
It is also possible to form comparisons using manner adverbials.
No, that is it, though.
For example, we have a sentence like following, and that's the beaver chews the grass quickly.
Oh, Danielle. Yeah, it's a struggle. Man. and suk. Suk is our quick. Okay.
Oh my God! I think I know what we have to do. It's gonna be terrible, but I think I know what we have to do. In order to say that the beaver chews grass more quickly than the frog, the comparative phrase is placed where it ordinarily would be in the structure. And so the beaver is chewing the grass more quickly than the frog is there. I know.
And I would actually go potentially one step further. There's no reason we couldn't be emphatic about it's very more quickly.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense in English how we would do it, but you can say, the beaver is chewing grass very quickly, and that seems like the O would be the emphatic. And so O is possible here too, I would think.
Yeah. And you know what? I want to go and add that to the adverbial section too. What about the frog?
And yeah, that seems like, because it's saying effectively your brain goes on a short garden path in these sentences.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like the beaver, you think it's just going to be the beaver chews grass. You don't know tense aspect information yet because we haven't hit the main auxiliary. But it's essentially like chewing the grass. The beaver is quick. Felling the frog is. Whew.
And there we go. I've now got an example with the beaver is chewing the grass really quickly.
Oh, okay. And
then I'm going to go ahead and add
where did you put that? Oh, down there.
there above.
Okay.
Note the O travels with the adjective as adverb when fronted.
So yeah, we could get suk o saleo da sing sutena.
Yep. That's, all right. Good.
Okay, so we did something, and I've got some things I want to work out in my brain for coordination ideas. And so we can also check our mail that came at the last second before we ended the stream. All right. Well, thank you all for being here.
Also, it's a frong.
Oh, Matthijs just got bingo, waiting for that mail drop. But yeah, thank you all for being here. If you're a patron, make sure you check out the podcast, especially if you had a submission and you want to see how things panned out, or if you were working on a submission. No matter how far you got into it, I think could be a lot of fun to just hear what other people did.
Yeah.
And
yeah. For non-patrons, we're only like
12
episodes away from the end of the season.
I said 30. David says 12. We'll say. Patrick, I am not lying when I said I was blown away by your work. It was. I wish I could have said more about everybody's work. It was really difficult. I knew I had to cut so much.
Everybody had something really special and really unique.
Yeah.
Also, even though he's not here, I wanted to say for Jason's
Oh my gosh.
entry, I think he had the best solution for the ed suffix, and I really wished I would have thought of it because
Yeah, David was jealous.
yeah, I wasn't happy with what I ended up having to do with generated, because it's like I saw the patterns there, and it was really frustrating to have to deal with what essentially ended up looking like an infix. Of course, it was just double suffixes, and I thought I had a very inelegant solution. Jason's was the best with the coordination, and who knows, maybe we'll see something like that as an option for this. But it's up to Jesse.
Well, we'll see where I go.
All right.
All right, thanks everyone. Stay grammar.